Interesting question. Who moved me more as the tougher guy, Charles Bronson or Clint Eastwood? Now, interestingly, these two never worked together. And this is always like one of them, what is, what could it have been like? What would it have been like if those two had gotten down? Um, Body works are different. Eastwood, connected in America, connected Brunson from overseas. They're connected in different ways. Both had the tough guy exterior. Both had their own way of totally doing things. Um, Bronson wasn't as commercially as Eastwood, but he had his following. He definitely had his peaks. He had his prime. And when you look at the body of works, it's a very interesting uh, ruggedness, but a different regal. It cuts differently because it depends on what you want. The thing about it with Eastwood always had like somehow as rough as it was, it still had a commercial shine to it. It always came across like it still would hit. Whereas Charles Bronson, that thing felt like cold and raw. It just hit differently. Their approaches to filmmaking was similar, but it was different in how it was played out. And I think imagery played a big part because I think that Eastwood was more still acceptable in a certain factor. But we just going by the tough guy vibe and what it radiates off of. And if I just go by that as my main purpose, I got to give Charles Bronson the edge. I just think Bronson had a more sheer vibe to him that seemed more believable and that it captured. Eastwood always had this coy, lost dear look, but it was rugged, but it was also boyish charm. It was still kind of like, almost like he's gonna crack a smile with it, as tough as they made him out to be. Because in some ways, Clint Eastwood was kind of like, I want to say like a Junior Whopper James Dean in a way, the Dirty Harry and that whole thing. And he played that facade really well. Brunson just always felt kind of like he just rolled out and was like ready to get you. So they hit in similar ways, but they hit differently. There was a story a long time ago that Brunson had a chance to work with Eastwood, but he turned it down. That would have been interesting if you'd have put those personalities and, how you put it in the screen and what you do with it. I don't know. But, you know, uh, you sometimes when you're watching films or you're watching things, you kind of had these moments where you kind of like wonder what that would have been like, how, what the forces of that could have been like. So, um, it's been very interesting to say the least. Been very interesting to say the least. So we don't know, but I thought about it. I thought, wow, that would have been an interesting battle between